1967 British flying saucer hoax. On September 4, 1967, southern England experienced a massive alien invasion that turned out to be a highly coordinated student prank orchestrated by engineering apprentices from the Royal Aircraft Establishment, RAE, in Farnborough. Key stunt. The objects, 6 fiberglass saucers, each roughly 1.4 meters long and 0.76 meters wide, were built with a smooth aluminum-like finish to appear extraterrestrial. The innards. To make them more convincing, the students filled the saucers with a foul-smelling fermented flour and water paste and installed electronic speakers that emitted eerie, high-pitched beeping sounds. The deployment. The craft were placed in a perfect straight line across southern England at Isle of Sheppey, Bromley, Winkfield, Welford, Chippenham, and cleaved in to simulate a strategic landing pattern. The response. The discovery of the spaceships triggered a massive national security response. Military involvement. The British Army's Southern Command, the RAF, and the Ministry of Defence, MOD, were all mobilized. Explosive results. In Chippenham, the Army blew up one saucer in a controlled explosion. In other locations, when police or engineers drilled into the craft, the fermented paste exploded, showering them with foul-smelling slime. Publicity. News of the invasion spread globally, reaching North America and Australia before the hoax was revealed approximately 12 hours later. Aftermath. The mastermind, Christopher Southall, and his colleagues revealed the truth to promote their Rag Week fundraising event. Despite the massive disruption, no charges were pressed. Police famously stated they were taking it like gentlemen. The event ultimately raised approximately £2,000 for charity. Would you like to see declassified Ministry of Defense documents regarding their internal reaction to the hoax? Berwyn Mountain UFO Incident. The Berwyn Mountain UFO Incident, often dubbed the Roswell Incident, occurred on the evening of January 23, 1974, in the Berwyn Mountains of North Wales. It remains one of the UK's most famous and debated UFO cases. Main event. The disturbance, at approximately 8:38 p.m., residents across North Wales and as far as Liverpool heard a loud explosion or thud and felt the ground shake. The sightings. Witnesses reported seeing unusual, bright lights in the sky and a glowing, pulsating orb on the mountainside. The response. Fearing a plane crash, police and mountain rescue teams RAF Valley searched the rugged terrain but found no wreckage or crater. Earthquake. A 3.5 magnitude earthquake was recorded at the exact time of the explosion, explaining the ground tremors. Meteor. A bright fireball meteor was observed across the UK that night, likely accounting for the lights in the sky. Poacher's lights. Some investigators believe the lights seen on the mountain itself were likely poachers using powerful lamps or earthquake lights, a rare luminous phenomenon caused by seismic stress. Theories. Despite the scientific explanations, believers argue for a government cover-up. Retrieval. Rumors persist that a crashed craft was recovered by the military and transported to Rudloe Manor, the UK's supposed Area 51. Project Photo Flash. Some cite a military exercise involving powerful flashes scheduled for that night as a possible source of the lights. Witness persistence. Witnesses like Nurse Pat Evans continue to maintain that what she saw was a structured, glowing object that could not have been a meteor. Would you like to explore the specific witness testimonies in more detail or learn about other UK UFO incidents like the Rendlesham Forest case? Two young children, a brother and sister, declared to have been the witnesses of a meeting with a UFO and their occupants. That classic encounter is one of the most famous cases in French ufology, often cited for the consistency of the witnesses and the physical evidence noted by investigators. On the morning of August 29, 1967, 13-year-old François and his 9-year-old sister Anne-Marie were tending to their family's cows in a field near Cussac. Their account remains a cornerstone of the Gipan Archives, the official French government body that investigates such phenomena. The encounter. The entities, the children reported seeing four small, black beings approximately 1.2 meters, 47 inches, tall. Initially, they thought the figures were other children until they noticed their unusual appearance and movements. One was reportedly hovering or busy on the ground. The craft, they described a spherical, brilliant craft about 4 to 5 meters in diameter hovering near the ground. The departure, as the children approached, the small beings allegedly flew or rose quickly into the air and entered the sphere. The craft then ascended with a whistling sound, leaving behind a strong smell of sulfur. Physical evidence, local gendarmerie, police, who arrived shortly after the report, documented a faint sulfurous odor and dried, yellowed grass at the site where the object was said to have hovered. The case gained significant international attention when the French government released its UFO archives to the public in 2007, making it one of the first major, close encounters of the third kind to be officially documented by national authorities. To this day, the Gipan classification for this event remains Category D, meaning it is an unidentified phenomenon despite a high level of witness credibility and available data. Are you looking for the official police reports from the Gipan archives, or are you more interested in the skeptical theories regarding what the children might have actually seen? Finnish Air Force UFO sighting. The most famous and only officially acknowledged UFO sighting by the Finnish Air Force is known as the Seven Balloons of Pori. The 1969 Pori sighting. On April 12, 1969, during a military jet training exercise at Pori Airport, flight controllers spotted 7 spherical objects floating between 1,500 and 3,000 meters. The encounter, pilot in training Tarmo Tukva, flying a Fauga Magister jet, was ordered to investigate what were initially thought to be weather balloons. Observations, Tukva reported that the objects were disc or ball-shaped and arranged in a formation. When he attempted to approach them, they accelerated away at astonishing speed, against the wind. Corroboration, a second pilot, Juko Kuronen, overheard the radio traffic and also observed the objects. Additionally, unexplained radar returns were recorded roughly 200 kilometers away in Vaasa shortly after the sighting. Jimmy Carter UFO incident. Before his presidency, Jimmy Carter reported witnessing a very peculiar-looking light in the Georgia sky that he could not identify. While he remained certain he saw something anomalous, he later clarified that he did not believe it was an alien spacecraft. The incident. The sighting, January 6, 1969. While preparing to give a speech at a Lions Club in Leary, Georgia, Carter and about 10 to 12 others saw a bright object roughly 30 degrees above the horizon. Description: he described a self-illuminated, non-solid object that changed colors from blue to red to white. It appeared to move toward the group, hover behind some pine trees, and then recede into the distance after about 10 to 12 minutes. The report, 1973. 4 years later, while serving as governor of Georgia, Carter filed an official report with the explanations. Investigations by scientists and researchers have proposed two primary terrestrial explanations. Barium cloud. Recent studies suggest the sighting coincided with a NASA high-altitude rocket launch from Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. These launches released barium clouds that naturally glowed green, blue, and red as they interacted with sunlight and ionized in the atmosphere. Venus. Some skeptics at the time suggested he had seen the planet Venus, which was at maximum brightness. Carter, an amateur astronomer, rejected this, stating he was thoroughly familiar with the planet's appearance. It was the strangest sight to ever grace the sky over Oloron, France. In the early afternoon of October 17, 1952, according to one of the many witnesses, high school superintendent Jean-Yves Prigent, there appeared a cottony cloud of strange shape. Above it, a narrow cylinder, apparently inclined at a 45-degree angle, was slowly moving in a straight line toward the southwest. A sort of plume of white smoke was escaping from its upper end. In front of this cylinder were 30 smaller objects that, when viewed through opera glasses, proved to be red spheres, each surrounded by a yellow ring. These saucers moved in pairs, Prigent said, following a broken path characterized in general by rapid and short zigzags. When two saucers drew away from one another, a whitish streak, like an electric arc, was produced between them. But this was only the beginning of the strangeness. A white, hair-like substance rained down from all of the objects, wrapping itself around telephone wires, tree branches, and the roofs of houses. When observers picked up the material and rolled it into a ball, it turned into a gelatin-like substance and vanished. One man, who had observed the episode from a bridge, claimed the material fell on him, and he was able to extract himself from it only by cutting his way clear, at which point the material collected itself and ascended. A nearly identical series of events occurred in Gluck, France, 10 days later. Such angel hair is reported from time to time. Laboratory analysis of authentic material, airborne cobwebs are sometimes mistaken for angel hair, is impossible because the material always vanishes. In the summer of 1957, when Craig Phillips, director of the National Aquarium from 1976 to 1981, witnessed a fall off the Florida coast, he collected samples and placed them in sealed jars. But by the time he got to his laboratory, they were gone. The Pascagoula UFO incident is one of the most famous and well-documented cases of alleged alien abduction in history. It occurred on the night of October 11, 1973, in Pascagoula, Mississippi, involving two shipyard workers, Charles Hickson, 42, and Calvin Park. The encounter. While fishing on the banks of the Pascagoula River, the men reported a bizarre sequence of events. The arrival, they heard a zipping or hissing sound and saw an oval, football-shaped craft with blue lights descend. The creatures, 3 humanoid beings about 5 feet tall, emerged. They were described as having leathery, wrinkled gray skin, no necks, and hands shaped like crab-like claws or mittens. The abduction, Hickson claimed he was levitated into the craft, where a large floating eye device performed a thorough physical examination. Parker reported being paralyzed and terrified during the ordeal, which lasted about 20 minutes. Evidence and skepticism. After reporting the event, the men were left alone in a room at the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Police secretly recorded them, expecting them to admit to a prank. Instead, the men continued to express genuine terror to each other. Throughout their lives, both men maintained the same story. Hickson even underwent a polygraph test that he reportedly passed, though skeptics like Philip J. Klass questioned its validity. Corroborating witnesses. In recent decades, additional witnesses like Maria Blair have come forward, claiming they saw strange lights in the same area on that night. Legacy and modern recognition. Historical marker. In 2019, the city of Pascagoula officially recognized the event by installing a historical marker at the site. Annual festival. The city now hosts an annual community celebration every October to commemorate the incident. Media coverage. The case has been featured in various documentaries, including Netflix's Files of the Unexplained in 2024. Berkshire UFO Incident. On September 1, 1969, over 250 witnesses in Berkshire County, Massachusetts, reported seeing a massive, glowing unidentified flying object. This Labor Day incident is widely regarded as one of the most credible mass sightings in U.S. history and was the first to be formally recognized as historically significant and true by a historical society. Witness accounts. The Reed family, while driving near the Sheffield Covered Bridge, Tom Reed, then 9, and his family reported their car being engulfed in a blinding white light. They experienced missing time and later recalled being inside a massive, silent hangar-like structure. Melanie Kirchdorfer, at Lake Mansfield in Great Barrington, Kirchdorfer reported a bright light surrounding her family's car. She recalls levitating and finding herself on a ship alongside other terrified children. Tom Warner claims he was running in his yard when he was pinned to the ground by a beam of light and vanished for several minutes. He later reported seeing Melanie Kirchdorfer on the same craft. Formal validation. In 2015, the Great Barrington Historical Society officially inducted the incident into its collection, citing the volume and consistency of eyewitness reports. Governor's citation. A citation recognizing the event was issued by then-Governor Charlie Baker's office, though his staff later stated it was signed in error after a request from Tom Reed. The monument. A 5,000-pound granite monument was erected at the UFO Monument Park in Sheffield in 2015. However, it was removed by the town in 2019 following land use disputes and the withdrawal of some public support. Media coverage. The incident gained international fame through the Netflix reboot of Unsolved Mysteries Season 1, Episode 5, Berkshire's UFO. Despite the hundreds of reports, skeptics point out that no contemporaneous police or media records from the night of September 1, 1969, have ever been found, with the stories primarily emerging decades later. Are you looking for more skeptical theories regarding the incident? or are you interested in visiting the location of the park today? The Trans-en-Provence UFO incident occurred on January 8, 1981, in the Var department of southeastern France. It is widely cited as one of the most thoroughly investigated and scientifically documented UFO cases in history due to the involvement of the French government agency Japan. The encounter. The witness, Renato Nicolai, a 55-year-old farmer, was building a stone shelter for his water pump when he heard a whistling sound. The craft, Nicolai observed a metallic, lead-gray, disc-shaped object approximately 2.5 meters in diameter. It landed briefly about 40 meters away before rapidly taking off. Initial reaction: believing it was an experimental military aircraft from the nearby Canjours base, Nicolai reported it to the local gendarmerie the following day. Evidence and findings. Japan conducted an extensive investigation, including soil and plant analysis from the site. Physical pressure. Soil analysis indicated the surface had been compressed by a mechanical pressure of approximately 4 to 5 tons. Thermal effects. The ground showed signs of heating between 300 degrees Celsius and 600 degrees Celsius. Biological changes. Wild alfalfa plants at the site exhibited a 30% to 50% reduction in chlorophyll. Younger leaves showed signs of premature senescence, aging, that decreased as distance from the landing point increased. Chemical traces. Trace amounts of zinc and phosphate were detected in the soil. Despite the scientific data, skeptics have proposed alternative explanations. The tire theory. Some critics suggest the marks were simply tire tracks from a vehicle and that the biological anomalies could have been caused by chemical spills or a hoax. Military origin. The proximity to a military base led many to believe it was a secret drone or experimental craft, though no military records confirmed this.